Today we're going to be going through a couple of Storm Leagues that I recorded last year but have yet to provide commentary for. So I figured I should get these done. I haven't really published much lately. So we're going to start off game one of match one here with a double probe ponder hand. This seems pretty great from my perspective. I think we're actually going to, while I normally like holding probes, I think because we have two, we're going to fire one off turn one and probably ponder from there, depending on what we draw. Our opponent's leading on C ponder, which unfortunately doesn't tell us a huge amount. It almost makes it look like it's the mirror. Given I think most Delver decks and other decks like that would probably rather prefer to have a turn one creature play rather than a turn one ponder, but we'll see. Okay, and we draw therapy, so we're pretty stoked with the hand that we've got here. This is going very good places. And it turns out that our opponent's on Aluren, so I think we're actually going to want to ponder this turn and probably therapy next turn to take the Strixes. Oh, sorry, not the Strixes, the Shardless Agents. We're not particularly interested in therapying this turn. We are interested in all the rest of the cards here. So we're going to draw the LED next turn just in case we need to dodge discard. And then I think we might consider fetching and probing again. Or we can just fire off a therapy. And so opponent's not really drawn anything else. He's got a Aluren, he's got a Parasitic Strix. So, I mean, realistically, from here, the best he can hope for is to combo in 2 more turns if he draws exactly Cavern Harpy. Ponder's going to make that a hell of a lot more likely. But I think we're in a really good spot here. So I guess our opponent's fetching here just in case we're something like Grixis Delver. I guess this is why we probably should have fetched on upkeep. So I think we want to probe here because we want to try to go off this turn if we can. If we can't go off, we're going to take, I think we should be taking Aluren. Now we can actually try to combo this turn with Ad Nauseam and leave black up. We'd be doing it from 14 life. I feel like it's safer to do it next turn. Our opponent's getting a blind draw here, so they need to draw exactly Force of Will to stop us from going for it. Okay, so they found a brainstorm, so they're going to see 3 new cards. We're only worried about them hitting. We're not worried about them hitting anything. They need multiple force of wills, and we just know that's not going to happen. So we're just going to jam here. 14 life isn't the best life total to go for ad nauseum from. However, given we're going to have 2 mana up and a land drop open, I think this just gets a lot safer. Now the one caveat here is we really need to win this turn. Often with an ad nauseum you can let it resolve, use it to draw a bunch of cards, and then just try to kill them next turn. Here with a Parasitic Strix, well, we get a little too low and we might just lose. So I think we probably want to brainstorm and fetch. And unfortunately, we've just hit all the big business spells in our deck. Now, a Cabal Ritual here would have got us there. Okay, and we find it. So we're going to be able to, I think... So we never hit any Dark Rituals, did we? So we're in a slightly awkward spot now where we can get to 6 mana. But then we need to use 5 to flashback past In Flames. And unfortunately, that won't get us there. So I think a Dark Ritual here wins us the game, because we can get 1 more mana up. And we're just going to concede now. Or if we don't, we're just going to hope that he doesn't cast a Parasitic Strix next turn. So we're just going to concede. For this matchup, I think maybe we really don't want much. We want a couple of Abrupt Decays. And I'm not sure we really want anything else. We can trim a Swamp. Xanted Swarm isn't the worst card. It just shuts off all this interaction. But I don't really think it's necessary here. I don't mind keeping the second Past In Flames. However, he does play black, so we do risk various forms of, I guess, graveyard interaction. So we're going to keep the play, and I think we're just going to lead on Preordain. And we can bottom both of those. So our opponent's on a bit of a slow start as well. We're definitely probing here. If we find a Infernal Tutor, we win. Instead, we find 2 Force of Will, so we really need a black source. Having said that, if we go something like Black Source into Infernal Tutor, we're massively favoured. We're not even remotely concerned about Baleful Strix. Now the Cabal Therapy there may have been a little bit greedy. Alright, now opponent's getting very close to casting an Aluren if they want it. Whereas we still haven't found a Black Source. Okay, and there's the Aluren, so let's find out so we don't lose this turn. Which is a bit of a miracle. So lately I myself have really been enjoying playing Aluren. I think it's a really fun deck, but we're seeing here right now why I don't particularly think it's worth playing. Now we're going to lead, we should almost lead on a Dark Ritual. I think if the Dark Ritual resolves, which we've got reasonable odds of letting happen, then we just win. So I'm not quite sure what our opponent's doing at the moment. I suppose they might be able to Shardless Agent into something. Oh no, they're going to hardcast a Force of Will. So we're just going to jam. We're going to bet that given they haven't really cantripped it all this game, the odds of them actually finding a Force of Will are pretty slim. Now, we probably should have, at this point, or a little bit earlier, actually Infernal Tutored for another ritual instead of the line that we took, or maybe even could we have done it for the, yeah, we could have done it for an LED, I think, and I think that would have got us there without risking losing to surgical extraction. Fortunately, he doesn't have it, so we'll just take the win. So we brought in an extra discard. It just gives us a little bit more early game interaction to help prevent him from doing anything. I'm not 100% sure we need it, but it's useful to have at a minimal cost. This hand's great. We have a Brainstorm, we have all bar one piece of the combo, and we have interaction. So I think we're actually somewhat interested in brainstorming at the end of his turn. I'm not normally a big fan of that, but from where we are right now, if we do that, we might be able to just untap and win. I think we really want to see something like Gataxian Probe into LED here. Okay, brainstorm now. We're keeping a pretty stacked hand here. We're going to make land drops for the next 2 turns. And then we'll probably be able to run out our entire hand and win. So I think we want to play out the Bayou next turn so we can draw the Dark Ritual. I didn't pay much attention there to which way we stacked it, so I think we want to have the Tutor, the second card down. So we punted that a little bit. We'll take a brainstorm. I've got to decide whether or not it's worth therapying out the Shardless Agents, but he doesn't have another land at the moment, and he doesn't have a cantrip to find it. So what we have to dodge at the moment, if we pass the turn here, is Shardless Agent into Thoughtseize or him. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and take the Shardless Agents. This makes sense. This leaves him with nothing but Baleful Strix in hand. It means he has to top deck really, really, really well from here. Whereas next turn we're going to be able to... What are we going to do? Cast... We're going to fetch Cast Dark Ritual. We're going to have Cabal Ritual online. Alright, so he's going to Baleful Strix, draw a card. He's now got 2 unknown cards in hand, 1 unknown card in hand. So I think we have to dodge Flusterstorm, and that's a roundabout. Flusterstorm and Surgical. I don't think we can beat Surgical here. I also don't think it's worth playing around it. We're going to fetch, grab a red source to get Threshold. And this is going to leave us with, what is it? This is going to be 6 mana, so 8 mana. We can pass in Flames from here. It's a little bit tight for us to get enough Storm at the moment. So we probably should have double checked that, but I think with the rituals that we have in the graveyard, we can get enough Storm in order, to cast a discard spell. And our opponent concedes.